What's up YouTube, Webbers5 here, coming out today with an update to my Endymion deck, which I've adjusted back to my Dogmatika Endymion. So for those who might remember, at one point I did post a video of the combo video, but I never actually did the deck profile of it because shortly after we got Realized Dark Dragoon, so I wanted to try around with that. But now I've gone back to the build for the main reason that in a lot of playtesting I almost never have cards in my hand to discard for Dragoon, which means what's really much point in me playing it. So, but before we get into the profile, guys, I want to do my shout-outs as always. So, shout-outs to Gigi and Jonathan Basson as the newest subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. You're the reason my channel's grown stronger. And so, without further ado, let's get into the profile. Okay, guys, so starting the profile off, let's start with the starter cards. So, playing 3 Spell Power Mastery, Servant of Endymion, 3 Abductor, and then the targets of what you want to go into. 1 Reflection of Endymion as your interruption. 1 Jackal King for your monster negate, and 3 copies of Mighty Master as your spell trap negate. Next, going into the extenders, playing 3 Chronograph with the 1 Time Gazer, 3 Magician's Souls, like one of the reasons the deck's still good right now. 2 copies of Justicon Fee. I would play a 3rd, but I don't have a 3rd. Well, it's not so much I don't have a 3rd, I couldn't find a 3rd from Ancient Prophecy, because guys, you know what I'm like with my rarities. And then, last bit in the extenders, the Magician's Restage package of 3 Restage and 1 Magician's Right Hand as an additional disruption. Then going into the next Spellbook engine, 1 Blue Boy, 2 Secrets, 1 Knowledge, and 1 Wisdom. So I'm going against the traditional 2-2, 1-2, simply because I don't really like seeing too many blue boys in my hand because I find it a bit cloggy, and I kind of like the option of Spellbook of Wisdom as a protection option against things like Dark Ruler no more. Next, the Dogmatika engine, playing 1 Maximus and 1 Fleur de Lis, keeping it as a minimum engine because since Maximus is a level 8 spellcaster, you can send him to the graveyard off of Magician's Souls and then bring him back with Selene. And then from there you just go into your combo after you're done with everything else. So for those who don't know, Maximus's effect is you can send 2 monsters with different names from your extra deck to the graveyard, and then your opponent sends an equal number of cards from their extra deck to the graveyard. And because of the inbuilt fusion monster within the Dogmatika archetype that lets you search an additional one, I know that when I was checking out the archetype I saw Fleur de Lis's effect, which is if an extra deck monster is on the field, you can special summon this card during the main phase as a quick effect. Then if you control a Dogmatika monster, you can negate the effects of 1 monster on the field. So it's a non-targeting negate option that also doesn't destroy, so that can be pretty useful at specific times in case you don't want to use Jackal King. And also it's not a complete brick in my hand if I open it, because if I've just got an extra deck monster, if I've got an extra deck monster on the field, it's just a free special summon for 2500, which isn't so bad. Going into the spell cards, well, pretty much start with the spell cards, the rest of the spell cards I should say. 3 Law of Darkness, 3 Pot of Desires, 1 Upstart Goblin, and 1 Instant Fusion. So Allure, all of my extenders are dark attributes, so Allure is pretty easy to use. Pot of Desires is just a nice +1. I play lots of duplicates, so it's not so bad. Upstart Goblin, it's an easy spell counter, so obvious why. And then Instant Fusion just for like the Millennium Eyes Restrict in case I want to give myself an option to stop hand traps going fast. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Going into the extra deck, playing 1 access code talker. This guy's so good since he got released. Love him. 1 Appaloosa. I'm quite interested that she's been reprinted in maximum gold with an alternate art. The alternate art does look very nice, but now I'm conflicted. I don't know if I want to play the alternate art or if I want to play my Starlight Rare. What do you guys think? Boral Sword, why not? Crowley, Spellbook engine's pretty good and he sets up for Selene. IP's just so good. Phoenix, good option for IP. Unicorn, same as Phoenix, but more generic. Skuldra, just in case I want some additional draws. 2 Selene, best card in the extra deck. 1 Absolute to summon the 1 Vortex. The previously mentioned Millenniumize Restrict. And then my extra deck targets form the Dogmatika engine. 1 Titanic Land, the Ash Dragon, and 1 Borrowed Furious Dragon. So Titanic Land has the effect, if during the end phase of the turn it was sent to the graveyard, you can take a Dogmatika from your deck and either special summon it or add it to your hand. So I choose the Fleur-de-Lis cassette and add it to my hand as a hand trap option. I could also think about throwing in 1 copy of Dogmatika Ecclesia, who has the effect when it's normal or special summoned to add a Dogmatika from my deck to my hand. So that's just an additional deck option. And it does have the built-in effect that it can't be destroyed in battle by an extra deck monster. I'm thinking about using it, but I'm really not sure on the space. The other issue I have with the combo is not so much space in my main deck, it's space on my field as well. Because if I go for a generic setup of Jackal King Negate and Endymion Negate, Selene up top, IP, then Maximus, I've got 1 monster zone left that I can use, which I would need for the Fleur-de-Lis. So unless I'm going to bounce something with Endymion, it's not exactly that worth it. But I'm still thinking about it. And Borrowed Furious Dragon I've chosen as a target because when I was looking into options for what to send with Maximus, frankly I felt for my deck Borrowed Furious Dragon had the most proactive effect for my deck. Borrowed Furious not so much for his monster effect on the field, but for his effect in the graveyard, which is to banish himself to special summon a Dark Attribute Link monster on the condition that I can't activate its effects that turn. And I've got loads of good Dark Attribute Links in my deck. I've got things like Crowley, IP, Masquerena, and Nightmare Unicorn. So they're all really good options just as ways to link climb. So I could bring back Crowley if I've lost my Selene to go into a new one. I could bring back IP in case I want to do something else on my opponent's turn, or if I want to say make a new link monster that's immune to being destroyed by card effects. And then also I've got access, and then as I said there's Nightmare Unicorn, which if I do an IP into Nightmare Unicorn on my opponent's turn and then it just dies, I can do effect of Borrow Furious, banish, summon back Unicorn, drop a new monster, boom, I got a free access code talker. Okay, and finally going into the side deck, which isn't actually finished at the moment because there's 1 slot I'm unsure of, but this is what I've got currently. 3 Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbits, just because it's one of the best forms of removal in terms of side decking. 2 Lava Golem, it's probably my most favourite of board clearance, because I know we're in a kind of break your board format, so Sphere Mode seems more likely, but just in case, because I know some players adjust their boards, so don't want to get Sphere Moded, I'm going to drop my monsters. 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. I know back row is not huge this format, but I'd still rather have a back row removal option than not. Also, if Endymion dies in battle with a spell counter, I can rotor for this, so that's not terrible. 3 Triple Tactics Talents, just because this card's insane. If I'm going second, because we're in such a break your board format, my opponent's probably got a monster disruption in my turn, so I can just go. So once I base that, I just go cool talents, free draw, hand rip, or rob a monster. The ones I would typically use would be to draw 2 or take control of the monster, depending on what it is. And then I've got 3 Infinite Impermanence, just because this is probably a decent. probably one of the best forms of negation. Like, I know some people rate Gamma because it's an option that your opponent can't respond to with things like Call by the Grave. But Impermanence I find is just useful because it's both useful going first and second. And currently for the moment, guys, I'm actually still rethinking my side deck. In my last tournament, I was playing 3 Dragma Lockboard in my side, but I didn't have a single situation that it came up, so I'm kind of rethinking my side deck right now. So if anyone's got any decent options, let me know. Just let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to hear them. And also, before I just end into the side deck, I want to say a big thanks to my man Max Billion for recommending the new card sleeves I'm going with, which are Dragon Sleeve. And so far, guys, I have to say these things shuffle so well, they are so durable, and they come in a wide variety of colours, and I really just like them so much. Okay guys, so that was the profile. Hope you all enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a comment down below what you thought about it. And also, for those wondering of other targets of what you could be using for Maximus, here's I've got a small list here of stuff that you could consider. So there's things like Shadol App Cologne to do the effect. As most people know, when it's sent, you get to add a Shadol card, then you discard a card, so you could search the Shadol Schism Trap card, which lets you do Winder on your opponent's turn. And Winder's a spellcaster, so you can bring her back with Celine and really irritate your opponent. Other options, you could do Cypher Lord Omega in case you want to like keep looping and ripping cards out your opponent's extra deck without losing resources from yours. You could use the new Deep Sea Prima Donna from Rise of the Duelist, which has the effect if it's sent to grave you can recover a banished card, just in case you banished something that was kind of important off your desires or something. Classic options, there's like Natisse, but if you're going first you're probably not going to be using it. So there's like the other option of like Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, which does pretty much the same thing, but it's banished from grave to do it. There's also the Link monster the Link for Amber Whale, which has the effect to pop a card if a Link 3 which has the ability to banish itself from grave to pop a card when a Link 3 or lower gets destroyed. Simultaneously, if that situation doesn't come up, it's a fire attribute that you can abuse with Access Code Talker, which brings me to the last suggestion I've got of targets for Maximus. You could literally just choose different attributes to set up for your Access Code Talker if you're playing it. But that's pretty much all I can say about that. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Webbers5, and if you're already subscribed, feel free to hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload.